In 2000, we bought an abandoned 100-acre farm in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. We spent years cleaning it up, built a new house, and now are trying to make it a functional homestead farm. Welcome to Red Tool House.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Red Tool House. In this episode, we wanted to basically just give some updates. We haven't done some updates in a while and kind of discuss what's been going on. But we also wanted to answer a lot of questions that we see constantly in homesteading networks, and that is, how do I make money on my homestead? A lot of people want to quit their jobs and live off the land, and while I love that idea and that sounds great, it's not as achievable as we may think. But there are ways to supplement our income on homesteads that maybe we don't have to work as much off land, or we can just have some additional creature comforts here on the homestead because of additional revenue we've generated. So let's jump right into this. Well, one thing we're able to do this fall is start our orchard. We're excited to be able to clear out an area here, got some good land that butts up against our pig pasture. We wanted to start an orchard here. We've got some cherry trees that we put in. We've got some different varieties of apples that are good for cross-pollinating. And of course, because we are in whitetail country, we have to build our cages to keep them from destroying them. And obviously, as things come on, we'll even have to worry about the ground critters eating our roots and doing that type of damage. So we're excited to have those in, and we want to expand. We're going to go further down the bench here as we get the opportunity and put more trees in. And hopefully we'll in a couple years we'll start to get some good harvest there. We got our trees from Stark Brothers online and heard really good things about them. Been impressed with all the information they provide. Very helpful, good customer service. The plants came in as they were advertised. So far everything looks good. Granted, they're just sticks right now, so we won't really know what's going on until we get into spring and see how they start to bud out. But I'll leave some information in the show description about Stark Brothers, the link to it, so you can check them out. Well, it wouldn't be fall in West Virginia if you didn't start preparing with firewood for the colder months. So we put up a lot of firewood already this fall. And one thing we're trying to do is try to make some lemonade out of the lemons we're getting with the emerald ash borer. The emerald ash borer is a invasive species that's just destroying the ash trees in the Appalachian Mountains. It's a real shame because ash is a beautiful wood, and it's an ideal firewood. My goodness, you can take ash and as a log and drag it down, split it, and put it right in the fire, and it burns just as hot as anything. So it's not really a green wood issue. So we've been skidding down our logs, cutting those up for firewood. I've got a little bit of maple and some other stuff in there as well, but ash is what we're primarily getting. I have, out of 100 acres, I have, there on my north ridge, there's probably 100 ash trees within a 5-acre spot that are all dead. And it's sad, it's depressing. I think in 5 to 10 years we may not see an ash tree around here. But I'm trying to get those cut up and harvested as quickly as possible and turn them into firewood. If they're good enough logs for milling, then we'll take them over to the mill and try to get some wood shop wood stored away, because ash will become way more expensive in a couple years because it's going away. Well, another update here on the homestead was we've had some predator issues. We've lost quite a few chickens this year to predators, and my normal process of just having the high fence, having the electric, even setting out some raccoon traps wasn't working. We discovered that we have the Spider-Man of raccoon, evidently, that was climbing the walls and actually getting up through the eaves that I have open for ventilation. So I had to come through and line every single one of those eaves with chicken wire and get it all secured. And there's even a spot on the top where we think maybe the raccoon was even lifting up the roofing material to slide through. And the little devil would get in there and he'd kill a chicken and eat most of it and then crawl back out. So there for a while I didn't know if it was a raccoon, if it was a flying raccoon, if it was the ghost of a raccoon, or if it was even an owl or something getting in the coop and eating my chickens. So knock on wood, we think we've got that taken care of now, and hopefully we won't have any more loss. Well, another thing we were able to do on the farm this fall was acquire this beauty right here. This is backsaver is what I call it, but it's a 2-ton pig feeder. It allows us to put pig feed in here, and of course they can access it. They're roughly eating, at the size they are now, they're roughly eating about 200 pounds a day. So before I was hauling 200-pound feed sacks and feeding them through buckets or troughs, and that was really starting to take a toll on my back, and of course consuming a lot of time. So not a lot of pig accessory options where we are, so I had to drive several hours away in Ohio to find this. Got a really good deal on it used, but it basically allows us to fill it up. I put 1,400 pounds in it a week, and what that does is I do it on Saturdays. That allows them to eat it all down. Come Friday, they've eaten it all, so they clean up a little around it and ready to go again on Saturday. So that's been a big plus for us. It really allows us to manage our time better, and allows me to make sure everyone gets feed evenly. When I was just doing 200 a day, sometimes the little guys would get pushed out and they would all be gone. With this, the big boys get their fill, walk on, and then the little ones can get in and get some access to feed. So it's been a good plus for us. Well, so something else going on the farm, of course, is we're getting ready for winter. As we shoot this video, it is December, so the cold is upon us, and I need a nice cozy place for 22 pigs to lay their heads. So we have our regular shelter that I've just put up some temporary walls here to kind of a windbreak, utilizing some hay, and then I have a pig shelter as well. Obviously 22 aren't going to fit in that. In fact, only I think 4 can fit in that. But I'm blessed to have a neighbor who puts up a lot of hay, and he kind of got out of the cattle business, isn't doing a lot of cattle right now. So I've got all these round bales that I'm sitting out, and they look pretty rough when they're sitting out, but man, you take the top layer off and you got some really good stuff. So makes great bedding, and what's kind of funny, the hogs will sit here and graze on it a lot too. So you wouldn't think a hog would eat hay, but they do when they get bored. So we put this together, and a nice little windbreak for them. We've had some cold temperatures. We've been down in the teens already. So this is just a nice place for them to get in, and they stack up like sausages to keep themselves warm. They use the body heat there. So it's been nice. It's again, that hay is a really nice asset to have, a way to reduce costs there for us, and so that keeps them warm. So as I mentioned earlier, we wanted to talk about ways to make money on your homestead. Ways that you can supplement your income or just provide additional revenue to allow you to do things on your homestead that you want to do, or obviously live a little bit more comfortable life. So we're going to list top 5 things that we, in our experience, show that it's a good way to make some revenue. And we'll start with number 5. Number 5 is firewood. And if you have access to a lot of hardwood, then there's a lot of people that, of course, burn wood for heat. And you can take advantage of that and provide that resource. If you're not blessed with a lot of access to hardwood, then there's even companies, logging companies, look around for those. Logging companies, you can buy a log truck load of logs. They'll bring them in. There'll be some scruffy stuff that's not good enough for the mills, but they can even deliver for you, and you can then start cutting and processing. So, you know, some pros there of cutting firewood for money is it's again an easy, accessible resource if you're in obviously part of the country that has a lot of hardwoods around. A readily available customer base if you have a lot of people in the area that burn wood, and you can usually get a pretty good price. You see truckloads go for $80 to $100 to $150 depending on your area that you're in. So it's an opportunity to generate some extra revenue. Some of the cons, of course, are equipment. If you're going to sell firewood, truckloads of firewood to make money, I wouldn't do it by hand. I would invest in a log splitter, use the hydraulic splitters. It's going to allow you to do the job much quicker. But you're definitely going to need a good splitter. And obviously you're going to need a good chainsaw. If you get the logs brought in, or you cut them yourself, you're still going to need to obviously cut them up into manageable pieces. Investing in a good chainsaw is critical, and if you're going to do any type of firewood sales. Now, unfortunately, some of the cons, of course, are the cost of the equipment. A lot of labor involved. It is a bit dangerous, of course. You can lose fingers. You can stick a chainsaw in your leg. There's all kinds of things to consider there. And unfortunately, in our area, in some of the local municipalities, to sell firewood, you actually have to have a license, and you pay a specific fee to be a firewood producer. is what it is, I guess. But that's the way it works around here. So firewood is an opportunity to make some money. A lot of hard work involved in that. But if you've got access to that raw material, then you can generate some revenue there as well. Well, our number 4 opportunity to make money on homesteading is farm fresh eggs. Now, obviously, it's been done before. It's been done a lot. A lot of people have chickens to produce eggs for personal consumption, and of course, they sell to their friends and family members and those type of things. But you can actually turn a little bit of a profit with eggs. Now, I put a big asterisk by that statement because there's a lot of things to consider when doing eggs. You obviously have to have your investment of your animals, and your feed costs are going to be one of your largest. Whether you purchase your feed or whether you raise your own, you're going to have a lot of time and money invested in that situation. Just as an example of our situation here, we have 90 chickens, and I need to sell 7.5 dozen eggs a week just to break even on feed cost alone. So that gives you an idea of what I'm up against. You may ask, well, why are you doing all that if that's the tight margin? Well, with 90 chickens, right now at this point with those 90 chickens, I've got about 35 non-producers because they're too young, and they'll start producing soon. They're the Australorp and some of the barred rock you see walking around back there. Ideally, if I could get my freeloaders out, I should be getting roughly 7 or 8 dozen a day out of those chickens, maybe even a little bit more. Right now I'm not. So again, moving those eggs is important. If I can sell them, then I can turn a decent little profit there. But we look at it as eggs introduce people to our farm. People don't mind making a small investment. We sell our eggs for $4 a dozen. So people don't mind making that small investment. And that allows them to be introduced to other things we do on our farm. I like, obviously, to introduce them to our pork sales. So that's an opportunity there. Well, so my advice is if you want to start with selling eggs to try to generate some revenue on your homestead, start small. Don't go out and buy a flock of 100 chickens and try to raise them. Start small and see what works for you as far as housing goes and security from predators. All those things you need to take into consideration. We actually went through 4 different iterations of how we were going to raise our chickens. We tried free ranging, we tried small pens, we tried all these type of things. And we finally ended up with our design we have now, which is 2 5,000 square foot pastures that are fenced in. You can see it kind of looks like a little concentration camp around here with 6 foot high fencing. It's electrified, a lot of things going on there. So a lot of expense in that. I have a little over $1,000 in the coops and the fence, the post, the wire, the electric charger, all of that. So you can see I got to move a lot of eggs to even break even on those housing expenses. And of course you can see right now this time of year nothing's really growing, so by February it's going to look like the surface of the moon in both of our pastures because the chickens are going to eat it down and scratch it all up. So this spring I'll put them on one pasture as I replant another one and then rotate them. And that's generally how we do that. So we kind of have a pastured poultry is how we look at it, and we're rotating them through these 2 pastures. So there'll be expense in that in the spring as well with planting of the seed and the clover and the things we replant. So if you're going to start with egg production for revenue, start small, build up. And again, make sure you've got a good customer base established. Get those steady customers that are going to buy from you and really weigh your costs in that situation. Well, the number 3 opportunity to make money on your homesteading may not be an obvious one. It's one that worked out for us, and that was furniture repair and woodworking. I'm standing right now in my workshop. This was a place, this is a building we built 16 years ago. We moved on the property. It was first our apartment. It was obviously a lot cleaner than this when we built it. But over time, as I discovered interest in woodworking and got into that, it became my workshop. Now you may be asking yourself, Troy, why does your workshop look like the basement of Vincent Price's house? Good question. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to spend as much time down here as I'd like. So the spiders and the dust have taken over, and it's quite unfortunate. In fact, my wife is probably going to be mortified that I'm even recording this and showing anybody this footage. But I thought it was important to point out, here's an example of how to get started with some revenue. And again, it doesn't take a lot of equipment. Granted, there's a lot of equipment you see laying around here, and there's also a lot of junk. There's a lot of equipment you see and say, wow, yeah, sure, Troy, let's do woodworking and let's spend $20,000 in equipment. Actually, you can get started real inexpensively in the furniture repair. There's a lot of people looking to restore antiques or have antique pieces or just heirloom pieces they find interesting repaired, and they don't have either the skill, the time, or the equipment to do it. Here's a perfect example. This is a friend of mine who has this old Victorian table that he wanted to see if I could repair. The support arm here, made out of walnut, is just split and it's come apart. So I will actually take that apart and see if I could either just repair the walnut by gluing it back up, or if I have to, I'll replace this piece. Not a lot of equipment needed for this. Even this piece of walnut is hidden, so if I can't repair it, I don't necessarily have to have a piece of walnut. I can replace it with something else. So not a lot of equipment needed, not a lot of expertise. You'll find that with furniture repair, a lot of people are looking for individuals that can refinish. When I first started getting into this, I realized that it really doesn't take a lot of equipment and necessarily a lot of expertise, because there's a lot of people that just don't want to go through the hassle of refinishing a piece of furniture or repairing it. So this job right here could simply be a couple clamps and glue. Like I said, I haven't really gotten into it yet. But if you want to take the time to work with the chemical strippers and sand and buff and do all those type of things, then you're doing something already that people won't do. But they will pay for that service. So look into that. Look at starting with furniture repair. And then if you discover that's something you like and you're good at it and you're getting more interest in it, then build up. Take some of that money you make off the repair and invest in equipment. And then start getting into woodworking. Again, there is a need. There's always a market for people to build quality furniture. There's so much junk furniture out there now. People want things that are going to last a long time. They want things that are going to be have some value and can be passed on. So what we ended up doing is, as I started doing some of this, and at the process I was building a house, so I wanted to, of course, put trim in my house and put some furniture in there. So I started getting those skills as I was building things for my own. And what I quickly discovered is, hey, I can build this bookcase and put it in the house, or I can turn around and sell it and make a decent profit off of that. So unfortunately, as my wife would say, I still don't have the trim finished in the house, because anytime I come down here I end up making something and selling it. But look into that. Look into woodworking if you're familiar with that or interested at all in it. And again, you can start small. As you increase, you can start doing more specific things. And in my experience, over the course of 16 years, what I was able to do is go from basic furniture repair to doing some custom work. I've done some custom stair treads. I've done some custom heirloom pieces like steamer trunks and toy chests. I've done gun cabinets. Things like that they're real fun to build. It takes some time, obviously it takes some skill, and it definitely takes the right equipment. The old adage, you need the right tool to do the right job, is important, and especially in woodworking. And it's also can be dangerous. Luckily, I still have all 10 fingers. But it is something you need to take into consideration. But it could be a nice little profit center for you if you have the space to do it. So definitely look into that and consider that as an option for revenue for your homestead. Well, now our number 2 opportunity for generating revenue on your homestead is raising livestock for meat. And we're going to talk about pork, because that's what we know. That's what we do. Pork is the most lucrative endeavor on Red Tool House Homestead. We've been able to generate decent revenue from it. But of course, with the scale of how we operate comes a lot of expense. As I mentioned earlier, you can see that's a big feeder right there. That sucker's $1,000 brand new. Fortunately, I got it for $300 used. But a lot of expense. Feed is the singular most expense we have, with 20 or so hogs. Right now we've got 22 this year. With 22 hogs and raising them, my feed costs for the year are going to be around $5,000. Hopefully I'll make that back in sales and then some. So if you're going to consider raising livestock, and again, let's just talk about pigs. Obviously there's other livestock options, but if you're going to consider raising pigs, take into consideration how you're going to do it. First of all, are you going to do pastured or penned? We do pastured. If you want to know what that means, there's another video we have on pastured pork. But if you're going to pasture them, what are you going to do for food? What are you going to do for water? What are you going to do for housing and shelter? How are you going to keep them in a certain area? All those come into to factor there. To watch one's get to eat my tripod. Pigs are extremely curious as well. So when you try to video in the pig pasture, you find you get your equipment chewing a lot. Where was I? So recommendation for any livestock, but especially for pigs, start small. What we did is we got 3 hogs, and we were going to raise 1 for ourselves to eat, and we were going to raise 2 to either breed or sell to other people. We ended up breeding those because we liked how well that worked out. But if you're going to start, get 3 hogs. Definitely don't get 1 hog. A hog is extremely social. It needs companionship. You can see they're coming up and chewing on me just standing here because they know I'm the pig guy. I bring the food. Very social animals, so get at least 2. But I would recommend if you go start out with 3. You can start out with feeder pigs that have already been weaned. You can go to livestock auctions and get them. Although that wouldn't be my first choice. You maybe find a local farmer that has feeder pigs available, and that way you can get a little better understanding of how they were raised, and may eliminate some disease issues or some concerns there. But get 3 and raise 1 for yourself that you're going to have processed, and that way you get to partake in the benefits of your labor. But sell the other 2. Find some friends or family that want to buy the other ones from you. And what you'll find is if you price it right, you can not only pay for the cost of the feed that it took you to feed those pigs for that cycle, but it could cover your processing costs and put a little money in your pocket. So definitely something to consider. That's what we did. We started small, and then we scaled up. So we've discovered that around 30 pigs is where we are now until we get more pasture cleared. So that's another great way to make some money raising livestock. Now, of course, cattle, goats, sheep, all different stuff. Nothing that I'm an expert on or know anything about. I'm just going to stick with the pigs for right now. Well, so far we've talked about 4 ways to make money on your homestead. And before we show the number 1 opportunity for making money, I wanted to discuss something about the last 4. One thing those 4 all have in common is your local customer base, your local audience. We homesteaders, we like to be rural, we like to be secluded. So you need to take into consideration just how secluded are you. If you're hours away from the nearest town or something like that, then it's going to be hard to do what we've talked about, because you've got to have that customer base. If you're selling firewood and you got to drive 2 hours to get to town where there's going to be an opportunity to sell that, then you're going to have to factor in your transportation costs and your gas and all those things. Same with the eggs, same with raising meat for sale, same with even the furniture or the woodworking aspect of that. There's a lot of things to consider there. If you're very rural, if you're very secluded, you're going to have to get your product out to people. You're going to have to provide that service locally. So take that into consideration. Things that we do that have worked for us may not necessarily work for you, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so now is the time to reveal the number 1 way to generate revenue on your homestead. And you're wondering, what's the best backdrop for that? Well, it's not this. It just happens to be where I'm standing. The number 1 thing in our experience is technology, internet. And you may think, well, that's kind of ironic, and it's kind of the antithesis of what we're trying to do with homesteading. But you'll see that, just think about how much you're using technology now. If you're watching this video, obviously you're taking advantage of the internet. But we fellow homesteaders, we use the internet like crazy to find ideas of how people do things, get some new ideas, get some help. It's a very useful tool. There's a lot of ways to generate revenue from utilizing technology in the homesteading community and abroad. So there's kind of 3 key areas I want to address. One is product sales, the other is information sales, and the third is passive income. So what's product sales? We just talked about the other 4 ways to generate revenue included producing a product of some sort. We talked about firewood, we talked about eggs, we talked about pork, and we talked about furniture. So those products, of course, have a logical geographic audience. Well, utilizing the internet, granted you wouldn't want to sell pork or eggs across the world, but look at some other products. Do you know how to knit? Do you know how to crochet? Can you make smaller pieces of something? Do you make something that has broader market potential? If so, you can then take those and advertise those on the internet. So utilizing Pinterest, utilizing an Etsy store, or build your own website, then you can push your product further out. So you can generate product sales and, of course, have a much broader audience. The second is revenue from information. Again, the internet is just a storehouse of information. So as you homestead, you've obviously learned how to do certain things that a lot of people in the world do not know how to do. So can you capitalize on that knowledge? So do you write ebooks? Do you do online courses? Do you provide a blog, paid content? Just look at what you're capable of doing, where you have levels of expertise, and expand on that. If you don't feel comfortable enough doing that on your own, then partner with some other people that do have that experience. Look at business ventures there. And again, there's a lot of people that want to gain this information that you may know, that you do every day, that you take for granted. Well, I thought everybody knew how to do that. You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to do things. So look at information sales there. And the third is passive income. Passive income is one of the nicest ways to generate revenue because it's passive. You don't have to do anything. It's kind of a set and forget type of thing. But it's one of the toughest. It's almost like becoming a rock star in a sense. What is passive income? Well, passive income is generated through online ads, generated revenue based upon traffic to your information. So let's say you have a website. I'm sure everyone's seen websites with ads on the sides or in places. When audience members, people reading that website, click on those ads, the owner of that website gets revenue. And same with the YouTube channel. Again, you're watching my YouTube channel. There may be ads over here. There may have been an ad that started before this video played. So if you take the time to watch more than 5 seconds of that ad, then that generates a small portion of revenue for me. Now it's very small, so it's kind of like the iTunes model. You want tons of volume, tons of traffic to generate revenue to make any sense there. So it may be that passive income may be the toughest to acquire because you need the audience. You need a much broader audience, but it is one of those things that can pay off in the long run. So if you take all of these things, your products, your information, stuff that you know how to do, and you put that in a blog, you put it in a video format, you put it in some sort of information source that people can utilize, if you can get more volume, then there's ways to generate revenue from that. And in full disclosure, that's obviously what we're attempting to do as well with our YouTube channel and our website. So look at those options. That would be the number one. The reason why I make that the number one way to make money on homesteading is there really isn't a ceiling to that. If you want to go and look at some examples of people that make a lot of revenue, you probably already know those already. Just look at any homesteader blog that's real popular. Some of these YouTube channels. Wrangler Star is one that I think of as a YouTube channel that I think he has just under 500,000 subscribers, and he's got to be making some pretty good revenue from his ad sales there. So those are opportunities there that can really supplement your homestead and not really require a lot of work on it. Now, granted, you're going to have to keep your content going, your blog, your videos, whatever you're doing there. But yeah, what a great way to do that. So that to me is the number one way in this day and age. Utilize technology for your benefit. Okay, so that's our list. That's our top 5 ways to generate revenue on your homestead. One thing I want to point out, no matter which of the 5 or all of the 5, whatever you do, or if you have your own ways, one thing I cannot stress enough is you need to focus on marketing. The days, I call it the field of dream days, those days are gone. If you build it and they will come, those days haven't happened since the 90s. So if you're going to put anything out there, if you're going to use the internet, if you're going to use networking, whatever, plan on investing time and effort into marketing, and make sure you focus on your brand, whatever that may be. If you have a brand, maintain it. If you don't have a brand, develop one and stick with it. That's how you're going to stay in the minds of your potential customers, is if they recognize your brand over time. So just work on that. Again, if you're selling furniture, if you're selling eggs, if you're doing stuff on the internet, regardless of what it is, take some time to look at your marketing efforts and be sure to put together a marketing strategy. All of that will pay off in the long run. Well, that wraps up this episode. We appreciate you all taking the time to watch the video. Again, we encourage you, if you want to find out more information about what we're doing here at Red Tool House, visit our website. That's redtoolhouse.com. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Red Tool House. Obviously, if you're watching this video on our YouTube channel, we ask you to give us a thumbs up. That just helps other people find us. And be sure to subscribe. Subscribe simply just gives you a notification that we've got another video out. It doesn't do anything else, but we appreciate that. That helps us out as well. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to use the comment section or go to our website and subscribe to our e-newsletter. We send out information on a regular basis through that, and that's the easiest way to stay in contact with us. We appreciate you watching. Take care.
Goat milk suds promo, take 1.
Goat milk suds. A little sweat goes into every bar.
Cut.
What? I've seen them make it. They work really hard.
That's not what we're trying. Goat milk suds promo, take 5.
Goat milk suds. Made from freshly squeezed goats.
Cut.
What? I've seen them make it. They have to squeeze them to get the milk out.
But that's not what we're trying to say. Goat milk suds promo, take 20.
Goat milk suds with refreshing goat scent.
Cut. Ugh. Goat milk suds promo, take 30.
Goat milk suds. Your kids will like it so much they'll start cussing just so you'll wash your mouth out.
Ugh, cut. Goat milk suds promo, take 47.
Goat milk suds will get your goat clean in no time.
Ugh, cut.
What if you've got a dirty goat?
Goat milk suds promo, take 63.
Goat milk suds for all your dirty places.
Ugh, cut. Faces! Faces, for crying out loud!
It looks like it says places. Who wrote the cards?
Goat milk suds promo, take 89.
Goat milk suds for clean, manageable hair.
That's it! You're
What?
fired! Finally, goat milk suds, take 90.
Goat milk suds. Simple ingredients, natural, clean. Visit goatmilksuds.com for more information.